Big Green. What's the what was the story behind the song, and what got you to the point where you were able to articulate those emotions into a consolidated form?
I guess like it was end of like literally around this time last year. I was in a relationship, and it was just like kind of, it was going through the motions, and then it was long distance for a second, and I was kind of just dealing with everything that comes with that, I guess. I'd never done long distance before, and it kind of felt like the direction the relationship was going at the time. It was just like, it kind of felt like I was preparing for life outside of that. And you know, it was such a familiar place. We'd been together for a really long time, the formative years. And Big Green is kind of just like thinking about what existing and doing life looks like outside of that relationship, you know? And not necessarily wanting to be there, but needing to be there. And that's just where my head was at. You know, I made a different version of it, of the song that was really bad, before the current version came around. It was like a 2-month gap maybe of the initial version and then the version that exists now. But yeah, it was just kind of like, I wrote it in stream of consciousness, and everything kind of just fell out of my mouth and stuck there.
That's beautiful. Kind of soundtracking the discomfort that comes with having to live life on your own for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And
That's
you know,
so sick.
the relationship didn't end for a while after, you know, my thinking on that, and sort of naturally occurred that way towards the end. And the song, when I made it, was kind of like an emotional instance of just like angst and like unease, and it started to unfold in a way where I was able to relate to the song more and more as time went on.
That's so cool. It's like your subconscious, while you're making the song, understood things that you hadn't been able to process or internalize.
Exactly, and it was kind of accidental manifestation, you know, in a way.
That's the coolest thing, though.
And emotionally, like, I feel like I'm pretty removed from where I was when I made that song, but still maybe the most important song that I've made to date. I had just put out Turtle, the last project that I put out.
Good classic.
I just put that out, and I was like on a hot streak of making music that year. Earlier in the year, that I had put out another project called Grief Science, and I didn't really have like this desire to keep it cranking, but it kind of just happened, you know?
Yeah.
And I had all this momentum.
Striking while the fire's hot without the intention of striking while the fire's
Exactly, and it was just like happening. So I was like in this really beautiful place of creativity and like just not thinking about like what was gonna come out of it. And then Turtle came out, and I hit like a really fat wall.
Yeah.
And it happens to everybody. Everybody hits the wall, you know. And I felt like I crashed at like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it was just like a dead stop. And there was a lot going on in my life at that time. And I think all of that, like me being away from writing music for a second, just for like a month or so, or a couple months, kind of accumulated into this ball of energy, and it kind of just exploded in that moment.
That's it.
Musically, the initial version is kind of like this really sleepy, like the bones of it are there, but it's like slower.
It doesn't have the big
It does, but it's like whack.
It doesn't hit as hard.
It doesn't hit, you know, and it's almost like shoegazy, and it was just like no energy, and it was like super sleepy. I was singing it in a different key, and I was like kind of sitting on that for a second because it was interesting. And for me, like I never like when I make a song, it's always like the first recordings that come out. Like
Yeah.
I don't retrack for
One
shit.
take.
Yeah, unless I'm like working with other people who like get me out of that. But I have like a severe case of demoitis, is what they call it.
Yeah.
Where I'm like super married to the original recordings because all the emotion is there.
It feels the most pure.
Exactly. At the sacrifice of fidelity.
Yeah.
But that time I was just like, in that period of time, and I still haven't done this like since that, but I was like, I feel like if I left the song as is, it'd be a disservice to the song.
Yeah.
So I went back in.
It's finding the balance where your needs are met, but also the song's needs.
Yeah, exactly. I went back in and like re-recorded everything and just put more energy towards it, and it felt better immediately. And the song was done for like 6 months, and then Caleb Fulmer,
The legend. KK
nursed. He was about to leave for London, and I remember I came to the house. I don't remember how it happened. Like I don't know if I texted him or if I just ran into him at the house, but I was working on something in the garage, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to like play synth on Big Green? See if we can do something." Or it was actually initially I'd asked him to play drums, like do like crazy drum fills, because Caleb's a really good drummer. He's got a really unique and singular feel on the drums, and I was like, let's just try to do that. And then I was like, what if you play synth? So then he just played like the most beautiful, heartbreaking synth part ever.
Yeah.
And then the song was done again for like a while, and then my friend Ria, I reached out to her after she had come to LA and we got to meet her, some of the hardcore members. She had a session with Aaron, and we were fans of her music for a minute. And then I reached out to her when she went back to the East Coast.
Is that a Quiet Light?
Quiet Light, yeah, Quiet Light.
Insane.
And I was like, hey, do you want to like do background vocals on this?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
I thought that was Andy.
No, it's Ria. It's Quiet Light.
Interesting.
And I remember I asked, the song was done, and I was like, it was kind of just like a, maybe it'll work, you know?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I'm so down. This is a beautiful song, whatever. And I remember like for a second I didn't hear back from her. She's busy. She's a med student.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then she'll text me. She'll be like, I'm going to get to these, I promise. I'm like, yeah, no worries. Like, it's all good.
Take your time.
Yeah, the song's like low-key kind of done. In my head, that's how I was thinking. I was like, the song's low-key done. Like, I have no idea if it's going to need it. And then she finally got the background vocals to me, and it just like took the song up again. And I was like, okay, now it's done. And then it was done for like, this happened maybe, I want to say like March or April maybe. And I didn't touch the song again for a while. And then I was kind of in this place where I was like, wow, the song is like maybe the best thing I've ever made, but like I kind of don't want to put it out.
Oh, really?
And I was just like kind of showing it to friends, and they're like, yeah, this is good. And I was like, yeah, cool. All right, I made something. Maybe I'll build a project around it. And I kind of had a project around it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
It fell through. Everything else couldn't hold a candle to Big Green. So I was just like,
Don't want to take away from
exactly. So
how powerful that song is.
Exactly. So I just was like, maybe it just stands on its own. And then I had a conversation with a few people. I think Andy and Jared King, and they were like, you got to put this out. Cameron Gadesian. They were like, you got to put this out. And that's when I decided I was going to put it out. So I mixed it for like the next 3 months. It took a while for me to get that done too, because I kept saying it was done, and then it wasn't ever
Just
done.
keeps asking for more.
It keeps asking for more, and then I finally got it to a place where I was like, okay, it's done now.
Yeah.
I can live with that. And that was recently. That was like maybe 3 months ago. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But the song's been there for a while. It's kind of been just chilling. But it finally feels right to like, you know, let go of it.
Let it breathe.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it to drop.
Me too, man.